Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Hazel Adams. Thank you for joining me today. Today is Monday, June 9th, and I wanted to jump on and talk with you a little bit this morning. There's a lot going on right now that can look sort of scary in the U.S. I'm in the U.S. And then all the seismic activity around the world. And so what I want to talk with you about this morning is how to stay in a place of higher resonance, higher vibration, where you feel safe and okay, even with these things going on the news in front of you, on YouTube in front of you, and in the world around you. How to stay in a place where you feel and are safe and okay. In matrix energetics, I was taught to call that the field of the heart. I'll talk with you about that. And you can call it the upper octave, the higher vibrational state. And as I said in a video a day or two ago, being there already, the shift has already happened. I'm there, I'm on the new earth, and essentially I'm watching the ship break up on the rocks, but I am okay. And that's where we're going to go. So first, I am going to talk about a couple of the things going on. I ask that you stay with me, even if I say something that might offend you, depending on where you are with something. This isn't a political video. It's about how to be where we need to be while we're watching all of this going on in the world that we're experiencing and inhabiting. So, as I had predicted, as I had said, no, there are no set in stone predictions, but as I had seen, the beginning of June here, the first couple of weeks of June, the first 7 to 10 days, I saw it as being extremely full of upheaval and activity and a lot of seismic activity. And indeed, we are seeing that. There are earthquakes all over the world, in Idaho, around the Antarctic rim, around the Pacific Arctic rim, just everywhere. There's and of course down the entire coast of South America and Mexico, there are 4 point something earthquakes going on down that entire. Evidently, there's a rift there along the entire coast. There are also volcanoes being very active all over the world, and some major. Mount Etna did blow. There may be another major blow coming, but it's spewed lots of that. There's a name for it, but all that ash and toxic gas. It really had a big explosion a couple of days ago. Kilauea in Hawaii has been active. Now it is super active. And Fuego in Guatemala has become very active. So there's a lot of volcanic seismic activity. And of course, we're seeing it in our consciousness and in the world we are creating and experiencing and inhabiting, in what we're seeing in the world around us, which is, of course, a projection and a reflection of what's going on with our consciousness individually and as a species. We're seeing unforeseen turns of events as far as Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine pulling off that astounding hit against Russia. Who saw that coming? We're seeing tremendous upheaval in the United States, where masked ICE agents in full tactical gear, SWAT gear, are going into peaceful neighborhoods and dragging people out of the neighborhood restaurant where people are working and eating, creating disruption in what was otherwise a peaceful neighborhood. And that's very deliberate. The Trump administration has been putting on very big shows of power, both for Trump to show his base that he's doing what he promised to do to get out those foreigners, and probably to strike terror in the hearts of everybody. I've got control of the country. I'm saying what's going on, and I can come into your neighborhoods. So they're going into the neighborhoods with these long streams of these black Mercedes SUVs full of, again, these ICE teams in full tactical gear and masks, and just kind of creating terror and havoc in otherwise peaceful neighborhoods. And of course, people came out to protest. This is in, it happened in San Diego and I guess also in LA. But anyway, and of course, we've all seen the film footage of, people were basically protesting peacefully. Evidently, I don't know this part for sure, supposedly, ICE started shooting rubber bullets into the crowd first. I don't know that. I wasn't there, and you know how things can travel on the internet. But nonetheless, the whole thing was escalated. If you're going into essentially a peaceful neighborhood where people are just working and living and eating at the restaurant, do you really have to send the full SWAT team in to stir up the pot and get everybody all upset? And then there was some, not much, it wasn't that big of a deal, but there was some looting. And so what did Trump do? He used that as an excuse to militarize the National Guard against the American people. It had already been brought under control, evidently, by the time the Guard got there the next day, but there they were in their full tactical gear. So there's this just crazy upheaval and escalation where there didn't need to be. And this is the part that you may or may not like, depending on where you are. And don't get me wrong, I'm not for unbounded immigration and just doors wide open, anybody from anywhere just come in and take. That's not where I am. And again, this is not a political video, but I'm just saying we can see clearly that the administration is deliberately trying to stir things up and scare people. And then if any kind of protest breaks out, then that gives the administration, the Trump administration, reason to go full military, full authoritarian, and start trying to militarize the National Guard. And even he talked about the Marines against the American people, which is flatly authoritarian. It is flatly illegal and unconstitutional. As we know, that doesn't mean he won't do it and then talk to the courts about it later. So anyway, all that aside, we're looking at that. We're looking at, for instance, the tariffs that are in place in the U.S. I watched a Jeffrey Sachs video last night. I don't normally watch much of, if any, of Jeffrey Sachs, but I watched this one. And he said, and I think he's right, that the rest of the world isn't quite as upset about all of this. As we all know, once Trump sort of broke the piñata, broke who and what we are in the eyes of the world, we were the big boy. We were the big boy with the most money. We were the big boy with the most military toys that everybody wanted. We could protect everybody, so go ahead and disarm. We'll protect you. That's what the U.S. kind of told the world. The U.S. has been really, my personal opinion here, meddling entirely too much in the business of the world and dictating and trying to dictate and control what all the other countries are doing, and very deliberately have kept certain countries sort of at odds with each other. You're on my side, you're my friend, so you can't have friendly relations with that country, so to speak. So that being the case, when Trump went in and did the piñata breaking, is how I think of it, and everybody got over the initial shock, immediately the other countries now they've made other alliances, they've made other trade deals, and they've got plans to go into the future. They're not as hurt by these U.S. tariffs as Trump had led himself and others to believe. China is getting on good terms now with evidently India. They've been on poor terms for years because of a line evidently drawn, of course, by the English through the Himalayas that said, here's the line in your country, and they've been arguing about where the line is. Well, they've decided that they don't need to be enemies anymore. Countries that had been acting like their enemies mostly because of their loyalty to the U.S. are now evidently, I'm not an expert on geopolitics. I just try to listen to good experts here and there. Evidently, Japan and South Korea and China are starting to talk to each other about having better relations together. So what I'm saying is the world around the U.S. that Trump has created, they're not as worried about what we're doing now as they would have been before, and that we thought they would be, or Trump thought they would be. And so we're the ones here now that are dealing with upheaval and uproar in the streets, massive shows of tanks and military force going into Washington, D.C. for this show of strength for Trump's birthday. And of course, the film looks like something out of North Korea. or out of Russia, where the authoritarian dictator shows his military might. So, I mean, it's just looking scary. And with the tariffs, back to the tariffs, the thing is yeah, there are gonna be some inconveniences in terms of the things that we're able to get in the United States. The Latino population doesn't want to show up in the fields where they might get picked up and deported, so they're not there to pick the produce out of the fields in California. We're tariffing Mexico, and that's where we get a lot of our produce. So we're going to have a shortage of produce from Mexico and from our own California. And so there may not be as much produce, and it certainly will be more expensive, what is there, on U.S. shelves. Many of the goods that are on the shelves, it may not be quite as convenient or easy, sort of like during COVID, to get everything that you would just like to get your hands on. And when you do, it is going to be more expensive because of tariffs. But guess what? There was a study done, Fair and Balanced, talked about this. There was a survey done of businesses in the U.S., even the ones that their prices don't have to go up because of tariffs. In other words, their goods aren't really affected by the tariffs. They're raising their prices anyway, and they're openly saying so. They're raising their prices anyway because they can. Because if other goods are already at a higher price, they're just going to raise theirs to match. So there's going to be not only inflation, but what some people are predicting is hyperinflation. So this all looks scary, or it sure can look scary if you really look at what's going on. And so again, this isn't a political video. It's okay. Scary times here, and it's probably going to get more intense before it gets better. I had told you all that I saw it getting pretty intense through mid-June, but then really still rolling out and falling out and happening during July, and then maybe sort of an easing off and a coming into a new place by September or October. And I'll do another video about short and long-term things that I've seen. But what to do meanwhile, while we're looking at this stuff going, what the freak? What we have to come back to is what I said in my video a couple days ago, the one where I talked about looking at the shipwreck, and what I mentioned earlier today. We have to go, okay, I'm seeing all this for a reason, and in the first place, it is my intention, and if it's not, go where it is. Go where it's my intention for us to live in a more cooperative, unified world where everyone wants what's best for everyone, and where all the countries and all the people are working together for the best interest of themselves and for others, where the human race is working more like a big family that takes care of itself and of its family members, all of them, and where people are kinder and considerate of how others feel, not out of submission, but out of the way you would care of the way your child feels or the way your husband feels. You don't just grab all the chocolate cake for yourself and to heck with them, and you don't care if they eat. Of course you care, because they're part of you. When we're in the unified consciousness state, we're still individual in our experiences and our expressions and our abilities. It's not that we all agree with each other all the time, but we care very much about the well-being of all parts of ourselves. So we raise into that vibration, and we raise to where we are love and spirit first. We are love and spirit with a body experiencing through a physical body. We are not a physical body that theoretically has a spirit. We are spirit. We are love. We are the God source consciousness, each of us expressing through our individual perspective and pathway of experience and expansion. We know that. We raise to that. And in that place where we are in the consciousness, call it the upper octave, call it the field of the heart, everything looks different from there, because all of your possibilities, all of the possibilities exist. And you can see, you may or may not see all the details of all the possibilities, but all possible ways things could go exist. All possible states of being for yourself and for the world and for the country exist. So instead of getting sucked into the drama of exactly what appears to be going on right now, we can kind of come more out here. There's more divine neutrality where, yeah, this is what I'm seeing, and there's a reason I'm seeing it, or I wouldn't be seeing it, but I'm okay. I exist where I hold all my possibilities. We as a collective exist where we hold all of our possibilities, and we don't have to get sucked into any one version, especially if it doesn't feel very good. We can see why we started being tempted to get sucked into that, and we can go, okay, I see the fear that I was buying into and the ideas I was buying into. Let's come back out here where I am neutral, I am love, and we hold all of our possibilities. So in this place, and I'll just say this, that place, which is often called the field of the heart, or it's the upper octave, think of it this way. When you're in the field of the heart, if you look at a cross, the horizontal line, the horizontal beam representing physical, the vertical beam representing spirit. You are both. You are both. That's that heart chakra where you are physical. You're not trying to not be in your body. You are physical, and you fully incorporate and are your spiritual self. That love, the infinite, the unity, the love, the creativity that your spirit is, the joy, is inhabiting and experiencing in a body. So that's your heart chakra, so to speak. And the field of the heart is living from that place. Now within that, there's even a high heart chakra, if you will, where you're at the higher vibrational band of that band. So that would be the Christed consciousness, wherein you're the higher levels of that vibrational place. So we rise into that. And so going back to my shipwreck, because this is sort of, I mean, it was a little disturbing to me to watch some of this stuff going on yesterday on the news. We go back to that. Invite whatever is going on. Here's the technique. Invite whatever is going on that looks scary, that you're feeling threatened by. Invite it into the field of the heart. And if you just want to call it the upper octave, that frequency, that bandwidth of frequency that is love, spirit, unity, joy, creativity, infinite possibility, invite what's going on into that. Immediately, you change where you're coming from. Immediately, you no longer feel controlled and fearful about what's going on. It doesn't hold you. You hold it, you see it, and you don't have to choose it, and you know you don't have to dive in and just buy that version of the story. So you can see it going on, but you are in the field of the heart or in the upper octave. And from this place, honestly, this is where I felt it had to go this morning as I was sort of looking at all this and feeling around through it. I gave that example, that metaphor of a shipwreck. It's like we are already in the upper octave. We're already on the new earth. It's already done. We have to be in that vibration. What we are seeing is not where we are. It's the remnants, the breakup of the structure of where we've been. As Paul Saley's guides talked about it as sort of a, I don't know if they used the word echo, but it's sort of the residue of what we had created. So we can see it, but it doesn't own us. That's not where we are now. And so it's like watching the shipwreck. We're already on land, high and dry and safe. We're not on the shipwreck. We're safe. We're fine. But we're watching the breakup of the old structure that we were fully bought into. It's breaking up on the rocks. As it breaks up on the rocks, you see a whole bunch of details in there. You know, and as I said in the other video, the beams, the spars, all the screws and the nails, maybe the rats running out of the shipwreck, just the cargo that was there. You're seeing all the details of what was in that structure you inhabited, but you're high and dry, you're safe. And so literally, energetically, if it helps you as you're looking at this and feeling weird about it, just think of yourself as you've got your life jacket on, you've got your lifeboat, you've got your supplies and your dry goods and your canned goods, and you've got a few dollars in your pocket. You're fine. You're not on the shipwreck. You're just watching it break up and go away as the old structure that you were tied to make room for where we're going now. As I said earlier, things may start looking worse and scarier before they look better. Know what's going on. We're watching the breakup of the old structure, and it's coming up to show us everything we need to see about where we've been, what we subscribed to as true, what we tolerated, what we accepted in our reality, which frees us very much to make conscious choices going forward about who and what we want to be as individuals, as a country, as a people, as a world. If something you're seeing is triggering you, I'm in danger of this, or, oh yeah, get them, that's a good thing to look at. Catch yourself having that kind of reaction and realize that you're not in love, you're not in unity and cooperation, you're in fight, threat, separation mode, and you're wanting to go after something. Well, don't deny it and don't try to defend it to yourself. Ask, why am I feeling that way? What am I learning here? What am I trying to learn about myself here? What have I been accepting as the truth or the way something is that's not a truth? It's been my belief and just what I bought into. What can I change here to lift into the higher version of what I'm built to be able to be? Always be asking that question. What am I learning here? What am I trying to show myself here? What am I showing myself that I need to release? What am I showing myself in terms of, oh, there's an opening. Oh, I'm seeing another way to look at this. And up I go. Remember, you're fine. You got your life jacket, your provisions, a few bucks in your pocket. You're going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Give yourself permission energetically to have some neutrality, lift away from it, and not buy that you are in this terrible danger and that horrible things are happening. Give yourself permission to rise into that higher vibrational version of yourself and ways of seeing, feeling, and understanding things. And one last very important thing here. You've all heard now from me and others, just clarify what your true heart's desire is, what is truly joyful to you, and don't worry about the how. Don't try to control and dictate the details of how it happens. It'll happen for you, and your universe within will make it happen for you magically if you allow it to. You just have to clarify what it is you want to be experiencing, what feels truly authentic and joyful to you. That principle in our own lives as far as conscious co-creation really applies here as well. If we're holding, back to something I said earlier, if we're holding this true heart's desire of the species being in love and infinite possibility and cooperation so that everyone is benefited, and we all want ourselves and everyone to have the best experience possible, and we do what we can do to help each other all have that wonderful creative experience together as a human family. Maybe we just need to trust that this mess we're seeing right now that can look scary is part of how that needs to happen, even though our conscious minds, our left ego brains are saying, this looks pretty scary, I don't like this isn't good. Maybe it is good. Maybe it's exactly how it has to happen to get us to the place where we're even able to be there and accept that for a species that's a big, loving family to itself and for the world that it inhabits. So I hope something I said today was helpful to you. As always, if so, please remember to click like and subscribe, share the video with your friends, leave your comments and questions. I appreciate and answer every one. I will be doing 2 or 3 more videos as part of the Great Shift series that I've been doing, including, again, some things that I've seen going forward, both short-term and long-term, which doesn't mean definite predictions because no one can do that. And I have a video I'll probably record maybe even a little later today for you about your service. What do you need to be doing during all of this as far as your service to the ascension? So have a wonderful day. I'll see you again soon. Love, blessings to all of you.